On the program today, the Independent National Electoral Commission has recognized former Senate President David Mark as national chairman of the African Democratic Congress, with Rauf Aregbesola confirmed as secretary, ending months of leadership disputes. Meanwhile, a federal high court in Abuja has granted a DSS request to expedite the trial of suspected Ansaru commander Khalid al-Banawi, accused of masterminding the 2011 UN bombing in Abuja. Now, this is Standpoint. I am Precious Amayu. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has officially recognized former Senate President David Mark as the new national chairman of the African Democratic Congress. Former Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola was also confirmed as the party's national secretary, ending months of internal wrangling over the ADC's leadership. The update published on INEC's official portal follows the self-dissolution of the party's old leadership at its 99th National Executive Committee meeting in July, monitored by INEC officials. But former Deputy National Chairman Nafi'u Bala insists he remains the authentic leader, and he has vowed to challenge Mark's position in court. INEC also listed other key members of the new National Working Committee, including Bolaji Abdullahi and Professor Osareme Osubo. To have this conversation now, we're joined by Chille Igbawua, member strategic team of the ADC. He joins me via Zoom. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. Welcome, viewers.
So we see that it's been some sort of good news for the David Mark-led ADC. First of all, INEC has listed the leadership, his leadership under him, on his portal. And then there was also a court summons for that's the interim, not the interim now, the national chairman of your party. The person who filed that judgment was looking, or filed that petition, was looking for a dissolution of the National Working Committee, but that did not happen. It seems like good news for your party, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you very much once again. I think the facts are very clear that the party held its 99th, National Working Committee and NEC meeting in July, at which decisions were made. One of the resolutions was to dissolve the remaining portion of the National Working Committee and reconstitute same. And this was a result of, the mass resignation of the officers that occupied those positions before. So I think that to make a request to the court to dissolve a working committee that was duly constituted at its NEC meeting under the supervision of INEC, I think is very unreasonable.
We will get back to the idea of it being duly constituted, because that's one of the things they are challenging. But I also wanted to ask what this means for your party going forward in terms of how you now function and prepare for the 2027 election.
Yeah, it's a very good moment for us because there have been delays in some of the programs that were set forth because until the recognition by INEC, it was inappropriate for the working committee to begin to act, by way of signing documents and issuing governance guidelines. But with this recognition now, the National Working Committee can go ahead, issue all the guidelines that wanted to issue, proceed more comfortably with the membership registration and revalidation, which is already on, without any fear of being accused of acting ultra-virus.
And all of this, it looks like, I know you think that it is huru for your party now. Some say it is not. But let's even look at the beginning. It all started with you trying to, you had chosen the platform of the SDP, which did not work. And then you moved to the ADC also, having it, it was shaky a bit until you got to this point. Some have said it's because those who came together to form this coalition did not do their homework. How would you react to that?
I think that would be absolutely untrue. The fact is that we never chose SDP. Let that be clear. We spent a year and 4 months working on this project. And we went through the processes. We had three options. One, do you register a new party? Second was, do you constitute a merger of political parties? And then finally, do you select an existing party and then upgrade it? It was because of the obstacles we saw in the way of registering a new party and the obstacle that was still on the way in doing a merger. Because in both cases, the power to do so does not lie with you. It lies with the authorities that could be influenced. It was a result of this that we finally agreed that, okay, let us choose an existing party. And when we started, we looked at all the parties in Nigeria, and then we said which are the ones that are less risky. And we said those that have won at least an election, because the Electoral Act provides that any party that has never won an election can be deregistered any day. And we didn't want to take a party that would deregister the following day just because they wanted to frustrate our process. So we did our homework. And when we finally got these parties, about three of them, we discussed with them and eliminated some until we came to the ADC. So we never chose SDP. Maybe it was a decoy for those who were from outside, but from within, we knew that we never chose a party until we arrived at a final decision with the African Democratic Congress, ADC. So that is the choice that we made. So there was nothing shaky about it. We were very steady and, we were very deliberate in the actions that we're taking. So when we arrived at ADC and we were satisfied that all the conditions that we wanted were in place and that the party members and leadership was willing to work with us. Because maybe I should also say that several of the former, officials of ADC are still in the present reconstituted working committee of the party. So we never chose any other party and we went steadily until we reached ADC.
So all of the meetings that we saw between the former governor of Kaduna State, Nafi'u El-Rufai, and the SDP leadership, and then some of the interviews, some members of the leadership granted, also saying, look, you can't take over our party. Was that a personal move for himself or on behalf of the coalition? I just want to be sure that you can hear me. It looks like we're having a network challenge. Just to be sure that you can hear me.
No, I didn't hear you then.
All right, Mr. Igbawua, all right, we do have you. I was asking you that if, some of the move that we saw the former governor of Kaduna State make with the leadership of the SDP and then also the controversy that came up from that, if that is a personal move for himself on behalf of the coalition, was he trying to shop or he was moving for himself?
Well, you see, just like I told you, there were discussions with several political parties. SDP was one of those that we discussed with. El-Rufai happened to be a member of the ADC who was in the coalition. And so he was working to see if ADC could go for SDP. But after we analyzed the SDP, it became clear to us that they were not the kind of platform that we're looking for. And we told them so after meeting with our officials. So the officials of the SDP are very much aware that there were discussions between the leadership of the SDP. But because of fundamental disagreements on how we wanted to proceed, we dropped the idea, and so we never chose them. What has happened is that El-Rufai, for instance, had in the SDP fielded candidates for elections. So he just pursued the elections. That's just about all.
All right. That clarifies it. But let's talk about where you are now. Your leadership has now been recognized by INEC. Does this lay to rest the grievances and some of the litigations we've seen some members of the party, and threats of litigation as well, take up?
Well, we don't have any worries about threats. Every citizen and member of a political party has a right to ventilate his grievances if he has any. But so far, we have not seen any that has any, any of those threats or proposed litigations that affect what we want to do. because none of them has any the process of what we intend to do. So there's none that we're worried about.
So most of them are challenging the legitimacy of the leadership and how it was constituted. One of them particularly talked about how it goes against the constitution, some of the provisions of the party's constitution, which doesn't recognize interim leadership.
You see, what happened is that we went through the constitution line by line, and we followed the constitution to the letter. What happened is that members of the National Working Committee resigned their appointments. And the constitution of the party provides that when a member of the National Working Committee resigns his appointment, he shall be replaced. So what simply happened was those who resigned were replaced. Some who actually resigned were given new positions, while the incoming members of the coalition were given other positions. So there is nothing unconstitutional about what transpired. If it were unconstitutional, that was presented at the NEC meeting where some of those who are complaining were, and the resolution was passed unanimously. There was nobody who objected to the resolution. That these processes have been correct. The motion stated clearly how the process was followed and how we got to where we are now. And there was no objection, and the motions were passed in unanimity. There was no objection to them at all. So somebody goes and says that the process was not taken, maybe the president should go back and check the provisions of the Constitution. It is maybe that person does not understand the provisions of that Constitution at all.
So the former the deputy national chairman, Nafi'u Bala, who is saying that, look, he's also challenging the legitimacy of the leadership of the party as it is now. You're saying he doesn't understand the constitution of the party where he was a deputy national chairman.
He doesn't, because he resigned his appointment as deputy national chairman to pave way for this project to proceed. And let me just say that why he is not comfortable now is that he wanted to be in that position in the reconstituted National Working Committee. He wanted the position. But when it was zoned to his northeast, the members of the ADC in the northeast went and made a different choice. They didn't choose him. That is why he never complained until the new membership was reconstituted. It was when he lost out that he started looking for how do you resign your appointment and then you have it back? You eat your cake and you still have it back. It doesn't happen. So he resigned voluntarily. Nobody forced him to resign, but his expectations after resignation were not met. And there was no such promise to anybody that you could retain your position in the reconstituted National Working Committee. You could get another position. There are some who have got other positions in the newly reconstituted, National Working Committee. He didn't get one, and then he is aggrieved. But the fact is that instead of saying so, he is going out knowing very well that he has no case at all. The Constitution is very clear. The many members of the National Working Committee resigned, and then the few who may have returned were exited through the resolution passed at the 99th National Executive Committee meeting of the ADC, which was monitored by INEC. INEC knows the laws and the rules governing political party management. And if things were wrong, they should have pointed these things out. They were there, they witnessed the whole process. It was amicably done. There were no, impositions. At the end, all the motions, put forward were passed. And then there was no problem. So Nafi'u doesn't have a case. But if we don't have people who go to court, the courts will become redundant. So it's good that he's going to court because that is.
Mr. Igbawua, for people like him,